Craig, can Klopp seriously walk after this awful transfer window? I've not heard an indication that Klopp will walk. It looks as if everything around the club in that regard's gotten a bit better, but it's been a shambles in the market. It's been a shambles, and I've seen the usual FSG in puppets trying to just do the club's bidding again. Look, I don't care what they say. FSG have been a joke. FSG need to put their hands in their pockets, and they need to get it done quickly, because what's happened over the past few days is an embarrassment. And Southampton sporting director Jason Wilcox has been speaking, and this is what he said. We had an offer which we accepted from Liverpool, but then Chelsea came to the table. Someone's lying to us. Now, this is coming directly from the club, Southampton themselves, so this is at odds with what Paul Joyce reported yesterday. And this is not me having a dig at Paul Joyce. I just remember he was the journalist that posted it, that said that Liverpool have denied that bid for Southampton's Romeo Lavia. So somebody somewhere is telling Porkies it's just another way to drag this out and to make excuses for an ownership group and a transfer committee that have absolutely 100% shit the bed. That's what we've got to be honest about here, because we are right now playing catch up again. This video is sponsored by Surfshark, the best VPN on the market. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to change your location to access websites in other countries and keep you safe and secure from hackers. Using Surfshark, we here in Ireland can access other countries' Netflix libraries or other streaming platforms like DAZN in Spain for all those important Premier League games. Surfshark keeps you safe and private by protecting everything you do online. Everything. When your device connects to the internet, all that information is, in a way, blurred out. Surfshark is particularly useful for keeping you safe from being hacked if you use public Wi-Fi. Let's say you're in a cafe, you're at college, you're out and about, they've got you covered. Surfshark allows you to use one subscription on unlimited devices, meaning you can share your account with friends or family or that neighbour who's a little bit cheap. On top of all of this, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can also upgrade to Surfshark One, which includes the VPN, an alert system for breaches related to your data, such as emails and credit cards, and an antivirus software for your desktop. Our sign-up offer gives you Surfshark VPN for a little over €2 a month, and you'll get an additional 3 months free. Simply scan the QR code on screen right now or use the link in the description and enter the code Anfield Agenda at checkout. What has to happen now is things have to happen quickly. So if you go for player 1 and player 1 isn't possible, you move on to player 2, player 3, player 4. But it has to be done quickly. And the indications that I've gotten today, and again, I'm being very careful with my wording here because the last week's been an absolute mess. What I've been able to gather is it looks as if Palhinha is the one that's top of Klopp's list. Now, the reason I say top of Klopp's list is there's an obvious problem with Palhinha with regards to FSG potentially buying him, and that's the age. So let's address that first and foremost. The dude's 28 years of age. He just turned 28, and we're replacing Fabinho, who's 29, but he's a young 28. And what I mean by that is he has shown no signs of fatigue, no signs of aging, no signs of any deterioration in his game. His stats are amazing, and I think that this is the right move for Liverpool Football Club personally. I think this is the deal that Liverpool should be doing, because he is the here and now player we need. We discussed this a little bit last night, and honestly, when we started discussing this last night, it was before I found out the information on Palhinha today. So for me, that's the signing. Now, he's going to be expensive, right? There's talk of £60 million that Fulham want. Pay it. Pay the money. Palhinha is the answer. He will come in right now and be ready to go. And here's the kicker for me, because the next statement that a lot of people are going to make is you're not going to get a resale value, but you will get a benefit because you will allow Stefan Bajcetic to develop without pressure. You will bring in somebody who's ready for the here and now, and of course you could add to that with a Kefren Thuram or somebody else. But for me, and for what I'm hearing, he is the top of the list. There is a 6-man shortlist that's been done up. We'll go through that list as the night goes on. But if I'm picking a player right now, it's Palhinha, and I'm paying the 60 million. I'm not quibbling. I'm going out there and I'm getting the deal done. Now, potentially, maybe you could send somebody to Fulham in the other direction. Maybe on loan, I don't know. But for me, he's the answer. He was looked at earlier on in the window by West Ham. They've now gone away, having signed James Ward-Prowse. And by the way, do you remember when James Ward-Prowse was being linked with us at the start of the window? Do you remember the number? It was £50 million. West Ham have come in for him, and they get him for 30. So there's no doubt in my mind that Liverpool are being charged the premium here. And hearing the Brighton chief executive speak about the Caicedo transfer was very interesting today. He said that Liverpool had been at the table for days over Caicedo. So it wasn't just that we came in on that Thursday and negotiated to try and pay that 111 million. That was being discussed for days, which makes the failure to sign him even more astounding, because we had longer than we gave him credit for to sniff out if his agent was playing games or if it was serious. And we were had. Make no bones about it. These people who were supposed to be the smartest guys in the room were had. Billy Hogan, Jurgen Klopp, George Schmadtke, John W. Henry, Tom Werner, whoever you want, they were had and they were fooled. And they need to hold their hands up for that. And that makes me angry. My 3 signings said Gigi Butet is Kimmich for the now, Kone for the development, by Cetic, and finally Inacio. What do you think? Palhinha is my here and now signing, because not only are his stats insane, but someone put me on to how good he was last year. And I didn't know much about him when he was at Sporting, to be honest. But when he went to Fulham, I started to pay attention. And I'm telling you, this dude is phenomenal. His numbers are better than Caicedo's numbers. I know he's 28 years of age, and I know it's going to be difficult to convince the owners if you're Klopp, but he is the answer. And you don't need to look any further than Manchester United to see what getting a player in the peak of his career, ready to come in and just be the guy in that position. Look at Casemiro. Liverpool could do that with Palhinha. I've mentioned this before. United did it with Van Persie previously. So if you want to know why Chelsea are doing what they're doing now and how they're getting away with it, I'm going to try and explain it as best as I can. They're front loading. They're bringing in a lot of young players now, putting them on 7, 8, 9 year contracts. But the plan is that they don't do business then going forward. They don't make many more signings. This is their team for the next 3, 4 years. Now, what we've seen of Todd Boehly so far makes me doubt very much that Todd Boehly is going to be able to stick with this group of players, because we know it's going to take a while for him to bed in and gel, and if he doesn't see results quickly, he's going to look to go back to the market. I think he's going to land in trouble. The Premier League right now are looking to close the loophole that has allowed him to do what he's done. UEFA have it, but because Chelsea aren't in European competition, they don't have to adhere to UEFA's FFP at the moment. And that's one part journalists aren't pointing out, by the way. A lot of people have been Europa League or the Conference League. That comes into play and they'll be in trouble. So I think what's happening with Chelsea right now is a risky strategy. And there's a reason why many other Premier League clubs haven't done it, because Todd Boehly is not the smartest guy in the room. This option has been there and available for clubs for years, but they've chosen not to do it because it's a very, very risky strategy that takes a lot of success to maintain the levels of expenditure that they've gone through, let alone the wage commitment. Because Caicedo signed a 250 grand a week deal for 8 years with an additional year added on. Ask yourself this question. With what you've seen of Caicedo so far in his fledgling career, do you think in any way, shape or form that he's going to sit on that contract for 8 or 9 years and not look for increases? Of course he is. As soon as Chelsea start to do even a little bit well, he's going to start looking for a wage increase. And that's where they're going to be in trouble. Because they don't give it to him, he's going to be unhappy. Their stance will be, you signed a contract for 8 or 9 years, we're respecting that, and we know what will happen from there. Lots of them will kick up a fuss and look to move out. Problem being, nobody's going to want to pay off that contract because it is a very, very long, lucrative contract. So to those people asking, why have these players chosen Chelsea over Liverpool? The answer is very, very simple. Lots and lots of money. That's the answer. This nonsense of Chelsea being a better project is just that, nonsense. They're a small club who've been propped up over the years by owners who've just thrown money at it. They lost 900 grand a week on average for 17 years under Abramovich, and they're going down a similar route here with Todd Bowley, and it will end badly. Right, so I haven't spoken about the Saudi Arabia interest in two of our players. So there's been a lot of shenanigans again in the media. So last night, I'm sure you guys were made aware of something that was trending on, I'm not sure if it was Saudi Arabian Twitter, but it was trending anyway. And it was that, I think was it Al Ittihad or whichever one of the clubs it is, they wanted Salah. That their message was, we want Salah. And then all of a sudden, the journalists that nobody's ever heard of, but because they have a foreign name and sound really exotic, everybody believes, start talking about the fact that Salah could be off and that they were preparing an offer, money was no object, and the player was interested in it. He isn't. He's not interested in it. He won't be going anywhere this season. And it doesn't matter what offers come in, how much money's thrown on the table. It's not happening. So you don't need to worry about Mohamed Salah going to Saudi this summer. Will it happen next summer? Probably. At least I think he leaves Liverpool next summer. Because I can't see FSG signalling an extension on higher wages again to a player who at that point will be in and around 32 and still has a year to go. So in all honesty, I see us probably losing Salah next summer. That's up for debate, what if you agree or disagree, of course. On Alisson Becker, I can absolutely again confirm there is no hope in hell that Alisson Becker is going to Saudi. He's not interested in the move. It isn't a money thing. He's happy where he is. So you don't need to worry about that either. That's just the truth. And it's very easy, of course, to get carried away when you see the likes of Neymar going over there. But there's one important fact in this. Neymar is a mercenary. Neymar has always been a mercenary. Neymar from day one has been about pounds, shillings and pence. End of. He went to PSG to get out of Messi's shadow, to win stuff, to win a Ballon d'Or. How'd you get on, Neymar? Have you polished? Oh, you don't have one. Oh. So yeah, he's gone over on an ungodly amount of money. And look, best of luck to him. I don't think European football is going to miss him too much. He's the epitome of a Saudi Arabia signing for me. Somebody who underachieved his whole career. And this is why I'm annoyed with Neymar. He is as talented as any footballer you'll ever see. The man has the skills to pay the bills without a shadow of a doubt, but his attitude stinks. When he's not over celebrating his sister's birthday or at Carnival, he's injured or he's just moody and stroppy. And all of his career he's been pampered and had smoke blown up his arse, and he's underachieved. Because he should have been in the conversation with Messi, with Cristiano Ronaldo, as a player of our generation. But he isn't, in my opinion. He's another waste of talent. Palhinha and Inacio get them in. The fact that we haven't signed a centre-back is absolutely 100% the biggest indictment of our owners that this window has had. Whatever you and I think, and whatever our opinions are of who we should sign and what position in midfield they should be from, one thing has been abundantly clear from our manager, and that is his desire for a left-sided centre-back. Right from before the window opened, right up until his last press conference. Every single time I've heard Jurgen speak, he's talked about hopefully bringing in a centre-back. And the fact that Inacio and many others, Pershers, Silva, pick a name, Mark A, doesn't matter. They're all still sitting there. Well, we've already played our first game and dropped 2 points. And we're lucky in the end to just get a draw. First half, we were by far the better side. Second half, Chelsea were much better in my opinion. How is that possible? That your manager wants a centre-back. Your manager has made it clear he wants a centre-back. And nothing has happened. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Unacceptable. FSG are a bunch of fucking spoofers. End of. And anybody who defends these clowns at this point, I don't know what you're seeing that the rest of us aren't. Other than perhaps a few bob. That's the only thing I can come to peace with. Because I can't believe, with a straight face, that anybody looks at our owners right now and thinks it's anything other than a disgrace. It's a disgrace. One injury away from a centre-back disaster. Or one injury away from a disaster, said Queen Nadra. Centre-back is a must. Gomez and Matip, not reliable. Yep, I agree. Agree with you for... Well, it doesn't really matter what the reasons are. I agree with you 100%. Gomez doesn't inspire me with confidence at all. And Matip looks like all of a sudden overnight he's lost interest. Or age has hit him. I don't know. Because I'll be honest, I've always been a fan of Joel. I've always been more than happy when he's partnered anybody in defence because he's usually been fairly steady. The problem with Joel was injuries and stuff or hampering his availability for big parts of seasons. But as a player, I've always thought he was okay. In pre-season, for me, both Matip and Gomez looked abysmal. Now, Joe looked fit. I'll give him that one. But not confident of him. I'm happy enough from at right back to cover, but not as a centre-back long-term option because we can't have the same headache and arguments we've had over and over again. Jurgen Klopp likes to tell us that we have players that have attributes that are hard to find. But what Jurgen neglects to mention a lot of the time is that these are sick notes. That these are players who aren't available for long periods of seasons, whether through bad luck, injuries or whatever. So we've moved a lot of them on now, which is good, but we've also lost a lot of experience. So yeah, where's the centre-back? Because nobody has made a bid all season, or all summer, not one bid. And it's easy to allow these days to go by. It's easy to sit here and go, still 2 weeks to go. But being there before, bought the t-shirt, washed the t-shirt, ironed the t-shirt, put the t-shirt back on, and FSG are trying to tell me it's a new t-shirt. It isn't. I've had this t-shirt a while. Sign somebody, you cheap fuck. We have the smallest squad registered in the Premier League. The smallest. Not Bournemouth. Not Fulham. Us, Liverpool Football Club, have the smallest squad signed and registered in the Premier League. Liverpool Football Club have made less transfers in this window than I think 18 other Premier League clubs. Liverpool, in our rebuild. How is that possible? How are they allowing weeks to go by with no activity? Give me the job. I'll do it. I promise you I'll make a better hash of it. Give half of the chat a job. They'll do it. This is not as complicated as these people try to make out it is. Particularly when you're going in just triggering release clauses. So what the fuck have we been doing? Who has been sorting this? Who is responsible for this fiasco?